Hello everybody and welcome back to another reading vlog. I don't really have a whole lot of themed reading things going on this month, so I figured I was looking at my TBR and I noticed that I have a bunch of sequels for a change on my TBR, and I'm not very good at reading sequels, so this is a rare feat. So I figured that I would dedicate a vlog to letting you guys know about all of the sequels that I'm reading and if it's worth continuing in the series. This is worth noting that all of these are second books in the series, not like third, fourth, fifth, or anything like that. So maybe it'll help you decide if I like the sequel, that it's worth continuing, or if I didn't like the sequel, that maybe you shouldn't start. It's also worth noting that for most of these books, I liked the first book enough to want to continue. There's one caveat, and we'll talk about that here in a second. So I'm going to be reading Blood of the Chosen by Django Wexler. This is the sequel to Ashes of the Sun that I absolutely adored last month. It was my first 5-star fantasy of the year. Then I think I will also be reading The Name of All Things by Jen Lyons. This is the second book in the Chorus of the Dragon series, and I really enjoyed the first book, but I've been a little bit terrified of the second one because there is some polarity between the two. I know that Jade and Cassidy really liked it. I think Rachel liked it, but Becca gave it 2 stars, so I'm interested to see where I fall on that standpoint. Then I'm also going to be reading Bitter Twins, which is the sequel to Ninth Reign by Jen Williams. I liked the first book well enough. I think I gave it a 3.5 star, but I listened to the first book and everybody else physically read it and really enjoyed it. So I'm definitely going to try physically reading Bitter Twins to see if that helps. So those are the 3 that I'm going to be reading in this vlog. I am going to go ahead and start with Bitter Twins because the live show for the Backlist Book Club is coming up here very soon. And I forgot. I'm going to go ahead and start that tonight on Sprint, and I'll check back in with you guys once I've read a little bit of it. Okay, everybody, so I just wanted to check in because I am now halfway through the Bitter Twins. I still like this book. I'm enjoying it a lot. I don't have a lot to say about it, to be honest. It's one of those books where when I'm reading it, I'm engaged, I'm enjoying it, I'm having a good time, but when I put it down, I just have no desire to pick it back up again. There's something about the writing style maybe that just keeps me from fully being able to connect, which is a little bit frustrating because I'm enjoying the story and the world a lot, but I don't know, I'm just not connecting to all of the perspectives, primarily vintages. While she was one of the perspectives that I liked a lot in the first book, I'm just not enjoying hers as much in the second one. I'm a lot more interested in what's going on now halfway through with Noon and Tor and all of the War Beasts, but I'm even more interested in what is going on with Hest and how all of that is going to play out. I don't know, this one's just, it's not giving me 5-star feels, but it's definitely not one that I want to DNF or I'm not enjoying or I'm really bored or anything like that. It's just pretty good, for lack of a better way to put it. So for now, I'm going to continue, absolutely going to continue, and I can see where it will really shake out toward the end of the story. But I can't really put my finger on what about it is not working for me. And it's not, I say not working. It's not that it's not working for me because obviously I'm having a good time while I'm reading it, but there's something about it that's keeping me from connecting and therefore keeping me from wanting to pick it back up and not be able to put it down. I'm enjoying it, but if it was between that and Nemesis Games, which I'm also reading, I'm definitely more interested in picking up Nemesis Games. But while I'm reading Bitter Twins, I don't want to pick up anything else. So I don't really know how to explain that. I don't really know what the deal is there. Hopefully by the end of the book, I will have figured it out. I probably won't check back in with you guys until the end unless something big happens and really gives me that light bulb moment of why I feel the way that I feel or drastically changes the way that I feel. Otherwise, I'll probably just check back in when I'm finished. I've actually finished Umbrella Academy now. I enjoyed the 3rd season a lot, but I have thoughts about it, so chat with me below about Umbrella Academy. But anyway, that distraction is now gone, thankfully, and I can hopefully get a lot more reading done because this manageable TBR that I had at the beginning of the month is suddenly seeming very daunting. So I've got to get a move on reading all of these books. So I should go do that. I should go read some of these books. Just kidding, I'm back. I actually got a package in the mail, so I figured, okay, let's try that again. I actually got a package in the mail, so I figured I would come and show it to you guys. It is from Pangobooks, and I got a couple of really good things, or at least I hope so. So let's get in here and see. Ooh, it's packaged really well, but a couple of these are mass markets, which I did not think they were going to be. Oh wait, that's not entirely true. Okay, so first we have The Worded Man by Peter B. Brett. I decided to get the mass market of this one just because it was like $2 on Pango. I was already getting free shipping, so if I like this, there are prettier editions that I will definitely be getting. It does have a little bit of a crease on the front, which I don't absolutely love because that wasn't in the picture, but it probably just happened in transit. Next up is another one that I did not think was gonna be mass market, so this is kind of disappointing, but it is what it is. And again, if I like it, I can always try to find the not mass market, although I say that, I'm not entirely sure that's easy to find. So that is the A Shadow in Summer by Daniel Abram. This one is one that Rachel really likes and highly recommended. So I've got the audiobook of it and I'm glad to own a physical copy, but again, this will likely be getting yeeted if I like it for a prettier edition. Okay, then we've got a couple that I'm really excited about. The first one is Avenge War by Kevin J. Anderson. This is the sequel to Spine of the Dragon, which Rachel gifted to me earlier this year. Very excited to read it. Super excited to have the sequel. This one's actually a matte cover, which the other one is not, so I like that a lot. It's very nice and it's very floppy. Then we have the one that I am the most excited about. I hope it's in good condition. I'm so excited. And that is 1,000 Names by Django Wexler. These are so hard to get in hardcover. This particular one usually is like $40 or $50 on Amazon in hardcover. So I was so excited to find this in what is really good condition for like 10 bucks. I'm so excited. If you have been watching my channel recently, you know that I loved Ashes of the Sun so much, and this is the other series of his that I think I'm going to really enjoy. There are orcs, and I'm so excited. I cannot wait. I kind of want to toss out my entire TBR and read this and Blood of the Chosen this month, but I can't do that. I can't do that. Anyway. So these are the 4 books that I picked up from Pangobooks. Thank you so very much to the person that sent them to me. They had like 500 books on their site, so I really probably could have ordered way more than this, but I'm glad I refrained. You will be seeing these in a book haul coming to you soon, but yeah, I should go back to reading now. Okay, so you guys remember how I said that Bitter Twins I was really just not feeling? It was okay, but I wasn't really connecting. I hit the 60% mark, and that completely changed. I have finished the book. I loved the second half. It picks up so much in comparison to the beginning. We are just having reveal after reveal. Things are happening, but not so fast that I didn't believe them. I was having a great time. I don't want to spoil anything, and we will have a full discussion in the live show, but loved it. Had a fantastic time. The beginning was a 3-star. The end was probably like a 4.5. So I think I'm going to round it out into the middle and do a 4-star for this one. But enjoyed it much more than the first book in the series and am very excited to round out with Poison Song, especially if it keeps up the pace from the end of this book. I have also had FOMO and decided to pull back out my genre blanket, even though I have not touched it since the end of April, I guess. And so I'm really behind. I will show you guys what we're working with. I don't really know why I decided to make it as big as I did, but I did. Okay. So this is kind of what it's looking like so far. It is massive. I mean, like, I don't really know why I decided to make it that big, but the light cream color is like my contemporaries. The light gray is my horror thrillers. The dark gray is sci-fi. The dark blue is dark romance and fantasy romance. And then the lighter blue is just adult fantasy. Good morning, everyone. I am on my way to work. I am at a different location today, so I had to stay in a hotel room last night. Nothing fancy, just a work thing. But I figured since I was in a little bit of a different city today, I figured we would take a trip to a local coffee shop if that's okay with you guys. And I don't know why I'm asking, because you're coming with me. You don't have a choice. So let's go.
Step 1, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up.
Okay, we're back in the car, and I have successfully gotten my coffee. I decided to get a sugar-free caramel macchiato this morning. I've been doing sugar-free vanilla lattes, but decided we needed some caramel. And it's good. I think I might still like Starbucks just a little bit better, but I've been on a Scooter's coffee kick recently. So good. But it's good. Really good. I'm glad that I have some caffeine because I am dragging this morning. I still don't know what I'm going to read next. I think it's going to be The Name of All Things. Once I've started it, I'll let you know. But for now, I gotta go do the work thing. Okay, so I told you I would check back in once I decided what I was reading after a 2.5 hour drive home because I had to go pick up Ollie from my mom's house and then come all the way back home. I have officially started The Name of All Things. This is the second book in the Chorus of the Dragon series, and I'm a little terrified of this book, I'm not gonna lie, because of all of the books in this video, this is the one that I'm the most scared of. I'm a little bit worried because Cassidy loved it. I think she liked it even better than The Ruin of Kings, but Becca gave it a 2-star. So 2 people that I trust their reviews, very, very different opinions. So this is gonna be one of those books where we'll see how I feel about it. Hopefully it will be worth it and I will be able to tell you, yes, pick up the first in the series because the sequel is definitely worth it, but we'll see. If you don't know what the Chorus of the Dragon series is about, not sure I can tell you. It is essentially about a young boy named Kieran, 2 perspectives telling Kieran's Kieran's story from 2 different points of view and 2 different timelines. So one is Talon, who is talking to him through a cell, telling his like previous timeline where he was a young boy, and then we have Kieran telling his own personal story about after he was sold as a slave. It does have a lot of genealogy confusion. It's got some interesting magic and ways that you can like transfer genealogy and be shackled to people. We have demons, we have dragons, and we also have a lot of politics and nobility that are moving around in this world. I know that's a terrible description, but I really feel like any proper description that I give you would spoil the book. So just know that it is gloriously confusing. It has demons, it has dragons, it has body snatchers, it has multi-timeline and multi-perspective, and politics. Hopefully that's helpful. I know that this second book, it did start, I'm about 50 pages in, and it did start right where the first one left off, but only for a little while, and then I have just now switched into a different character's story, which I was expecting. It does still have that typical gimmick of someone telling a story and then someone else telling a story, and that where it's not just like a chronological linear storytelling. So I know that it is kind of her thing, her gimmick, but I was expecting it. So expecting it and getting used to the idea, hopefully it's not going to bother me. And I'm interested to see how this different perspective and this completely different character, not having anything to do with Kieran, is going to play into the overall story. So we'll see. So far I'm liking it. I mean, the writing style is always really interesting and good. The audiobook so far I'm really enjoying. I think the audiobook's the only way I'm going to get this done in any reasonable amount of time. I am actually on sprints now with Rye, Cassidy, and Kaylee, so we are going to hopefully help me get a chunk of this read because it is the 16th of the month. This is turned into a monthly vlog, and I'm scared I'm not going to get everything done in time. So I need to get back to reading. I'll check in probably around the halfway point when stuff has happened and I have a little bit more concrete opinions, but that's where I am so far, and I'm tired, but I'm gonna go read. Good morning, everyone. I just wanted to give you a quick update on The Name of All Things. I'm about halfway through now, really enjoying it. I actually don't mind the way that the gimmick is done in this one. It's still a gimmick, but the book is actually leaning into the fact that it is a gimmick, and at one point they're even like, I don't trust anybody that talks about themselves in the third person. So it knows what it's doing, and therefore I appreciate that part. There is one thing that is kind of bugging me, and it's something that I also like and don't like at the same time. This book has a pretty interesting world where the... Hold on for a second. So this book has a pretty interesting world where one of the cultures has like stallions and mares, and the stallions are not men but have like masculine qualities, and the mares are more like demure and act the way that a lot of societies perceive that a woman would act. So I like that, but you can still be male or female sexually, and you don't necessarily, because you're a stallion, doesn't mean that you're transitioning to a male, although that can happen. It is a little bit confusing. The part that I don't like, because I do like that, but the part that I don't like is how like in your face it is, just because I wish that it was a little bit more like intricate world building, not necessarily something that is thrown at the reader over and over and over again. For example, the Black Coast does something slightly similar to this, but it is just a part of the world. Yes, you're told, yes, you're explained it, but it's just part of the world and you have to accept it, and that's just the way it is. And I loved that about it. The thing that I'm not liking about this is because every single time a new character comes into the fold that's not from there, we have to explain it to them all over again. And it's very blunt in the way that it's explained. It's not like, it's more tell not show. That's a good way to put it. It's more tell not show. And because we're getting shown that or told that every single time a new character comes into town, we're halfway through the book and I'm being retold this same thing that I was told in the first 10%. So it's making it extremely repetitive. I just wish we would seamlessly blend this into the world, make it part of the culture, who they are, and just kind of move on with it. I understand that she's trying to show real world application where maybe people aren't as accepting if they're not from that culture. I get that. I appreciate that and I love that. But again, it's just getting repetitive because it's over and over and over and over. And I don't really love the way that the characters from this culture are responding to it. So I don't know. I'm enjoying that it's there. I love that it's there. I love the conversations that we're having about it. I just don't particularly love the way that it's being done, if that makes sense. Anyway, I'm still really enjoying the book. Right now, I think we're sitting at about a 4-star. It's a good time. Yeah, so I'm going to keep reading and I'll update you guys when I'm done. Now finished The Name of All Things by Jen Lyons. This is the second book in the Chorus of the Dragon series, and I gave it 4 stars. I think if you enjoyed the first book, then you would like the second one. I also think that it is worth starting the series if you're just thinking about, is the second book worth it? I think so. There are still some of the little things that we discussed earlier that did kind of bug me, but for the most part, I still had a really good time. I felt like the intricacies were done well, but it's still very confusing. I feel like I need a flow chart for who is also named whom and what they are and where they came from and who they belong to and what their past lives were, because it's very confusing. Other than just a little bit of follow along issues because of that, which I think is intentional, I enjoyed it a lot. I didn't like Janelle quite as much as I thought I would as a main character. I was expecting to love her, and I just found her not to have a lot of personality at all. Kieran is dumb as a box of rocks, but at least he has some personality to go along with it. But I did enjoy her relationship with other characters and her story. So I think I'm giving this one a 4-star. I had a good time with it. If you're one of those people that thought the first book in the series was too gimmicky, you're gonna think that the second book is also too gimmicky. It is a very similar style. We do have a little bit more interjections in the midpoint. So this one is telling the same story in the same timeline from 2 different perspectives, whereas the first book told the same story in 2 different timelines from 2 different perspectives. And then the middle bits that were the present were not quite as prominent until the very end. In this one, you did have some of the middle bits that were more prominent, and like I said, it is told from 2 different perspectives, but the same timeline, leading along the same timeline that we got from Kieran's perspective in book 1. So I am excited to continue on with book 3, kind of see how the story is going to shake out and continue, and I enjoyed it. I had a good time. So just to wrap up this vlog really quickly, I think that if you enjoyed Ninth Reign, you will also enjoy Bitter Twins, and after reading the sequel, I do think it is worth starting the series. I'm excited to see where this series goes, but I do think it's going to lean a lot more heavily into the sci-fi in the last book, so if you're somebody that's in it for more of the fantasy, you might be a little disappointed because it does lean pretty heavily into the sci-fi in book 2, and because of that, I'm assuming book 3. And then as far as Name of All Things goes, I think it's worth starting the Chorus of the Dragon series. I had a good time. It's all still very confusing, but it's intentionally confusing. I think that book 3 does give you at least generation lines and flowcharts, so I definitely need to look at that. I do think that this is a series that's probably best read back to back to back so that you don't forget the different names of characters and how they flow from one segment into another, because that is something that I did forget a little bit of, and it took me a little while to get my bearings, and I didn't even read it that long ago, so I think it would be worth reading these in relatively quick succession. But other than that, I think that both of these sequels make it worth starting the series for you. I hope you guys enjoyed this vlog. Let me know if you've read either one of these series and what your thoughts were. If you want to hang out with me a little bit more, my Patreon is linked down below, as well as links to my Twitter, Instagram, and Goodreads. If you liked this video, please give it a big thumbs up and subscribe if you wanna, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!